Good evening and welcome to this edition of News Leader. I'm Andrew Todd. In tonight's news, AAA predicts this weekend to break records for highway travel. The high rate of third grade failures was recently addressed, and what you should do if the IRS questions your tax return. We'll have all these stories and more on tonight's News Leader.
For many senior citizens, life looks like this, but it doesn't have to. When you make your home at Parkview Senior Living, life after retirement takes on a whole new meaning. Daily exercise options, fun outings, happy hour, game nights, movies and popcorn, arts and crafts, enjoying friends over chef-prepared meals. Parkview Senior Living, where you're always home, but you're never home alone.
The Bookshelf in Tullahoma is the fundraising arm of the Coffee County Literacy Council. Since 1988, the Literacy Council's goal and purpose has been to support and promote adult basic education in Coffee County. We enable individuals to complete their high school equivalency exam, which helps them get better jobs or continue into higher education. The Bookshelf at 114 Southwest Atlantic Street in Tullahoma is where we sell used books, which are donated to us by the community. Come see us, bring your books to donate, and join us as you find every genre of books that you can imagine.
My husband was diagnosed with a spinal infection. He lost his ability to swallow and the movement of his legs.
I couldn't turn over in bed, I couldn't walk, I couldn't eat.
They were just wonderful in the treatment and care they gave my husband.
I regained my mobility where I was able to go home.
It is miraculous.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Welcome back. AAA predicts that this year's Independence Day weekend will see a record number of Tennesseans traveling. Over 1 million people from Tennessee are expected to embark on trips of 50 miles or more between June 30th and July 4th, surpassing last year's record high by 42,000 travelers. Nationally, travel figures are also projected to set new records, with an estimated 50.7 million Americans traveling, nearly 2.1 million more than last year. Road trips remain the preferred mode of transportation, with approximately 85% of all travelers choosing to drive to their destinations. In Tennessee, over 968,000 individuals are forecasted to take a holiday road trip, an increase of 27,000 from last year. Gas prices are expected to be lower than last year's holiday, providing some relief for drivers. Air travel is experiencing a surge in demand, with a record-setting 4.17 million Americans flying this Independence Day weekend. In Tennessee, an estimated 50,000 people are forecasted to fly, surpassing the previous high set in 2001. Other modes of transportation, such as buses, cruises, and trains, are also on the rise. Travelers are advised to plan ahead and expect congested roads, busy hotels, and long lines at airports and attractions. INRIX, a transportation data provider, predicts Friday, June 30th to be the busiest day on the roads during the holiday weekend. Average travel times are estimated to be 30% longer than normal, especially in major metro areas near beaches and popular attractions. Remember, if you are staying in the area, Tullahoma's world-class Independence Day celebration will be held on Monday, July 3rd at Tullahoma High School's baseball stadium known as Grider Stadium. Gates open at 3 p.m. with food and fun, plus special events for children. Music will start with Vinyl Radio at 5 o'clock and Six Wire taking the stage at 7:30. Fireworks will begin at 9 o'clock, followed by more music from Vinyl Radio. If you're not able to attend, check out our Facebook and YouTube pages, where we will once again be live streaming the fireworks show. Manchester's fireworks will be at the Manchester Rec Center on July 4th, where Rubik's Groove will perform starting at 7 o'clock, with fireworks following at 9. And after these messages, we'll be right back.
I had a knee replacement, so they've got me in Life Care, which I'm very, very thankful for. I couldn't garden, I couldn't do my flower beds, I can't chase my little dogs. I have been in several therapy sessions for knees and back, and that's the best therapist I believe I've ever been to. It's tremendous because I'm able to walk again, but if it wasn't for the care, I wouldn't be where I am.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Parkview Senior Living, active, independent senior living at its finest.
Welcome back. At last week's Tullahoma Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting, Tullahoma City Director of Schools Dr. Katrine Stevens spoke with the board about the state's new requirements for third graders and how Tullahoma schools are dealing with the challenges of the new literacy requirements.
This evening, several of you were at the legislative breakfast in January, and you heard the discussion on the third grade retention law. So I want to give a little bit of an update to that and how our students fared. It's important to note that we as educators, leaders, teachers, parents, and a school board were certainly against this law and the way that it stood. But today, as you listen to this presentation, you'll understand there are some positives within the law, and so we always want to find the positives, work toward solutions, and how we might work with law as it stands. So the law essentially says that for a third grade student, when they take the TCAP test, that assessment at the end of their third grade year, which has 4 subparts, English language arts, math, science, and social studies, that they will pull out the one subpart, English language arts, and they will look at their proficiency to determine whether a child can read or not and can be either promoted to 4th grade or potentially be retained. Now, what I want you all to understand, and it's really important to be clear about, is the English Language Arts Assessment is a standards-aligned assessment, just like math and science and social studies. So there are academic standards that teachers are required to teach, and there's an assessment that looks at that. So for ELA, there's 5 portions to that test, that 180-minute test that our third graders take. There is language, writing, reading, speaking, and listening. So those 5 subparts are there, making up the 180 minutes. Now, within the law, it's being stated that this is an assessment that determines whether a child actually knows how to read, and we as educators and people that understand the assessment would say that's not an accurate use of that assessment. That assessment really is assessing standards. So in Tennessee, the state average for success, if you will, for proficiency was 40%. 40% of third graders across the state of Tennessee were proficient on the ELA portion of the TCAP test. In Tullahoma City schools, our initial result was just a hair above that. It was 42% proficient. A positive note that I will lift up is that is 17% higher than the previous year's cohort of students who took that same exact exam. So there was positives there. The state made a 4% improvement from the previous year to this year, and Tullahoma City schools made a 17% improvement. Now within the law, there's some positives, there's some caveats. So within that law, there are allowable exemptions. So for students who are students with disabilities in literacy, in reading, writing, speaking, listening, who are served for that area, students who are English language learners, students who have characteristics of a disability in literacy, they can be exempt from the law. And that's across the state of Tennessee. So when those exemptions were removed, our percent proficiency changed from 42% to 52%. Another caveat in the law, third graders can come back to school after school and they can retake the test. Now when they retake the test, the only part they don't retake is the written portion, because this is done on computer. I do want to lift up the fact that these third graders have never taken a summative test before. So their third grade year, the first time they sat for 180 minutes, which is divided into 4 subparts, it was paper pencil. The next time they came in to take the test, it was on computer, and they'd never done that before either. When taking that assessment, if they made a certain amount of improvement, they could move from below to approaching or approaching to proficient. We had 19% of our testers move to proficiency. Now across the state, 146 districts, there were only 27 districts that had a higher percentage change. So that was something we were very proud of. What did that actually do to our proficiency percentage? What changed it to 59%? That was positive. Again, we're making these moves positively. The last caveat within the law that's a positive this year is parents are allowed to appeal. You have to meet certain criteria. You have to be approaching to be able to appeal. You have to have a certain score on a district benchmark to be able to appeal. So we've had parents to appeal. Thus far, for those parents who have met the criteria, their students met the criteria. We've had 100% approval of our appeals. We are now up to 76% proficiency. We are waiting on one more appeal to come through that I'm aware of. Next year, a positive change in the rule is we, the district, with parent permission, can make those appeals. Because I will tell you, our summer school staff have done an amazing job making sure they reach all the parents, do home visits, make phone calls, because this year the parents actually have to do that submission. So we've made progress. 39 students in Tullahoma City Schools fall into this grouping of potential retention. Our approaching students either have to do summer school, which completed last week for students who made the 90% attendance requirement, also in law. For those who missed some days, they have this week to get to the 90% required attendance rate for summer school. So our approaching students could choose summer school or fourth grade tutoring. Students who scored below, that would be at the lowest level, they have to do both. So some of those students may be retained in third and may be retained in fourth. Again, that's all a part of law. So as all this was happening, we certainly, as a district and as an education community, we talked to legislators, we wrote letters, our board did a resolution, we conveyed ideas, ways to reconsider and think through. Please know that this third grade group of students is the same group of students who in kindergarten, they lost their school year to COVID. This same group of students is the first grade students who either were in school or virtual or quarantined themselves or their teacher, so a very difficult year. These same students are the second grade students who continue to have a challenging experience in light of COVID, because in that year we were still dealing with quarantining, although our district was fully in person that year. So this year is actually their first year to have what I would consider to be a normal educational year, and then this assessment is used in this way, so that's been quite challenging. Our teachers and our parents and our students have done a great job in remaining positive through all of this, and obviously now we're at 76% proficiency. That's certainly extremely positive. In the midst of all this, we began thinking about what can we do? How can this work? How can we interact proactively to deal with this particular law? I had a visitor from a pastor from a West Side church, and we met in February, and I was just speaking with him about opportunities, and I thought, you know what, if I'm a principal, I'm going to flood K through 3. I'm going to take every volunteer you have, and we're going to find ways to have them read with, read to, listen to, do flashcards, whatever it takes. Well, lo and behold, the scores come out. Many of you have seen that on the news and in the paper. I had a phone call, or I had an email from a very beloved citizen who I will welcome to join me, Lane Curley. And his communication to me was very simple. How are we doing? How can we help? It was fabulous. And so I want to bring him forward to tell you what we are doing together as we visit with many civic groups and organizations. And we already have volunteers in place and even process with background checks good to go.
After this break, we'll hear former Tullahoma Mayor Lane Curley's comments regarding Dr. Stevens' plan.
It's not invoice. It's not MSRP. It's not Christmas Day, although it may feel like it. It's the lowest prices in Middle Tennessee, period. It's a Stan McNabb Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram or Stan McNabb Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac before these prices are gone forever.
He's a little bit of you, he's a little bit of me. He's the trash along the roadside of Tennessee. He's the garbage that we find. He's the dream we left behind. Lord, there ain't no lower class than Tennessee trash. A throwaway bottle or pop top can may not seem much to a traveling man, but a little bit of litter goes a long, long way. Growing and growing, getting bigger every day. Tennessee trash messing up the highways. Tennessee trash jogging up the byways. Lord, there ain't no lower class than Tennessee trash. Lord, there ain't no lower class than Tennessee trash.
We have met the enemy, and he is us.
Welcome back. We now return to last week's Tullahoma City Board meeting and former Mayor Lane Curley's comments regarding assisting Tullahoma students.
Thank you, Dr. Stevens, and thank you very much for this opportunity. I've been looking forward to this for some time. I've had an opportunity to work with Dr. Stevens on this project for the past couple of weeks, and I can tell you without a doubt she is so passionate about helping the children of Tullahoma and striving for excellence in our education. So I'm just so pleased to be a part of this with her. So anyway, here's what happened. A couple of weeks ago, Evelyn and I are at home. I'm in my lazy boy. She's to my, Evelyn, we've been married 44 years. She's to my right reading the newspaper article about this, that nearly 60% of the third grade students did not pass the proficiency test. I've already taken my nap, and I'm getting ready to watch Wheel of Fortune. And she looks over at me and she said, I feel so sorry for these COVID kids. And then she said, Lane, what are you going to do about this? And I said, what? What are you going to do about this? You've got to do something to help. So, as Dr. Stevens said, I emailed her that evening, as I recall. The next day we met for an hour or so. We talked about flooding the K through 3 with volunteers in the community to help these children in the next school year and now from now on forward. So we've named this program Reading Buddies. Okay. The volunteers will be the big buddy, and then the children K through 3 will be the little buddies. So we have 4 elementary schools. So the plan is for a volunteer to spend an hour a week. That's all, an hour a week in one of the schools. We have 4 elementary schools, 4 grades, K1 through 3, an average of 4 classrooms in each grade, in each school. So that's a total of 64. My goal is to have 2 volunteers in each classroom for the year. 128 volunteers out of 15,000 adults in Tullahoma. That's all we need. So, I think it'll be obvious to you the benefit of, to the children. But what's in it for our volunteers? Volunteers will have an opportunity, some gratification in small victories. Can you imagine sitting next to a child in the back of a classroom or in the cafeteria or in the library, and a light bulb goes off in that child's head where he or she finally grasps a vowel sound or reads for the first time a complete sentence, and you're there. There's an extreme amount of gratification in small victories. I think many people in the community are looking for ways to help children, but they don't know how. They maybe don't know a principal. They might not know the director of schools. This gives the volunteers, the adults of Tullahoma, an opportunity to be a part of changing potentially a child's life. So that's what this is all about. It's called Reading Buddies. Would welcome any of you to help if you have the opportunity to give an hour a week to a child. So we've prepared these simple little cards. So I appreciate this opportunity. Look forward to being a part of helping the children of Tullahoma, and hope you can participate as well. Thank you very much.
We'll be right back after these commercial messages.
We tend to lose our motivation when we have something that's chronic, but you've got to do what you can early on as you can. After I'd exercise like that, I would have a lot of energy to do housework or whatever I needed. Well, I would recommend it highly to anyone at any degree of Parkinson.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Hi, my name is Ringo. Here at Barkview Senior Living, they're human-friendly. That's why I love it here, and so does my senior human. When they want a bite, they get chef-prepared meals, and so do I. Movies in the theater, day trips, walks on the trail, and other senior humans to play with. The grass and the grounds are exquisite. It's everything my human needs to be healthy and active. Barkview. Parkview Senior Living. For your dog's best friend, you.
Welcome back. One of the most terrifying letters to receive in May or June is one from the IRS informing you that you are being audited. This video prepared by the IRS details what you should do if you are audited.
The IRS conducts audits to verify income, deductions, expenses, and credits claimed on tax returns. Here's what to do if you receive a letter that says the IRS is auditing your tax return by mail. First, read the letter carefully. It explains the issues involved and outlines the types of information you need to send us. We'll ask for documents to support information on your tax return. If you're not able to verify something, you'll need to explain how you determine the amount you reported. There are different ways you can submit the information to us. Regardless of how you submit it, you should always include the reply cover sheet with the documents you send. Here are the options for submitting information to the IRS. 1. The Document Upload Tool. This is a secure and convenient way to upload your correspondence. The notice will tell you how to share your documents with us online. 2. Fax. If you prefer to fax, use the number provided in the letter you receive. 3. Postal mail. If you mail your information, use the envelope provided. If your information doesn't fit, you can use your own envelope. Do not mail original documents when you submit your information. No matter how you submit your information, remember to keep copies of everything you send us. In addition to these 3 options, some letters may include an invitation to use the Taxpayer Digital Communication option. If you receive this invitation, we encourage you to use this option to submit your documents through secure messaging. You'll find instructions for signing up in your invitation. Be sure to send your documents to us by the deadline shown in your letter. If you can't meet this deadline, you can request an extension by mailing or faxing us your request, or by calling the number on the letter to ask for additional time. If we determine the documents you sent are sufficient, we'll close your case and send you a letter to let you know that there's nothing else to do. If we determine that the documentation is insufficient, we will send you a letter to let you know what information we still need to resolve your case. If you agree with our proposed changes, follow the instructions in your letter to have your case closed. If you disagree with the proposed changes, send us an explanation with your supporting documents. Remember, you have the right to request an appeal review with the IRS. If you disagree with the proposed changes and don't request an appeal review, you'll receive a certified statutory notice of deficiency. You can continue to work with us by providing the requested information to resolve your examination, or you can follow the instructions in the letter to petition tax court. For more information about audits, go to irs.gov/audit. You can also refer to publication 3498A included with your letter.
Tullahoma City Schools is excited to announce that Dr. Christina Boone has been named the district's new Director of Curriculum, Instruction, Assessment, and Federal Programs. Boone said, quote, "I am elated to be joining TCS. This will allow me to do the work that is my passion and joy as an educator and leader. The district's reputation for educational excellence is evident. I cannot wait to get started and build new relationships with my new Tullahoma family," end quote. Boone will take over for Susan Johnston, who is returning to the classroom, teaching 4th grade at East Lincoln Elementary School. Johnston spent the last 8 years in the Director of Curriculum Instruction, Assessment, and Federal Programs role. Tullahoma Director of Schools, Dr. Katrine Stevens, said, quote, "Susan did an exceptional job in this leadership role and has felt the call to return to the classroom to serve students directly. She will continue her legacy of making a profound difference in the lives of students in this new role. She is a natural-born teacher," end quote. Dr. Boone comes to Tullahoma with an array of leadership experiences. She has held school and district-level leadership positions and, since 2015, has served as principal of Discovery School in Murfreesboro. Prior to that, Boone was assistant principal at John Pittard Elementary before being named at the same role at Discovery School. Before moving to the school-level leadership, Boone served as Murfreesboro City Schools Coordinator of Instruction and Coordinator of Testing, where she focused on curriculum, instruction, and assessment. Dr. Stevens added, quote, "I am beyond thrilled to welcome Christina to Tullahoma. She is a credible leader who will be an asset to our students, teachers, parents, and staff as she brings a wealth of knowledge and experience in the areas she will be leading and overseeing. I was fortunate to work with Dr. Boone in Murfreesboro as her principal many years ago. I've seen firsthand how passionate she is about students, meeting their needs, and creating successful experiences and outcomes for all. I cannot wait for our staff and parents to meet her, and I know she will excel in this position." End quote. And stay with us, your weather forecast is coming up after these messages.
I got a tour and I saw all the things and I was so excited about them. Then she took me to the movie theater and it had red chairs. So this is a done deal and I like it.
We have so many activities here that you just can't keep up with them all. We have exercise, we have coloring, we have crafts.
It's charming, it's attractive, it's very comfortable. It was one of the best decisions of my life.
We teach Parkinson's patients how to move big and not let the Parkinson's slow them down. I've had patients I've treated in-house that could not even stand up, could not roll over in the bed, left the facility walking with a walker, have come back to us in outpatient and continued their big program and are now completely, handling life. The success of the program is just phenomenal.
Let us champion your recovery. Life Care Center of Tullahoma.
Welcome back. We'll take a look at your weather forecast at this time, starting with your weather history on this date. Our record high was in 2012 at 105 degrees. Record low was in 1938 at 53 degrees. The average high for this day is 87, and the average low is 67. Partly cloudy for tonight with a low of 72. Hot and sunny for Friday with a high of 96 and a low of 71. Sunny with a chance of storms for Saturday with a high of 96 and a low of 70. And that's our News Leader Report for this evening. We invite you to join us each Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday evenings at 6, 8, and 10 p.m. for News Leader. Stay safe. Have a great evening.